So over my real estate career, I've learned a lot of different things, a lot. But one of the most important things that have stuck to me is self-discipline. And I want to talk to you guys about that today because you guys know that in real estate, you're what? You're self-employed. Okay, so this video doesn't only pertain to real estate agents, it pertains to anyone who is self-employed. So stick with me. I'm gonna go ahead and share 16 different steps with you today on how to master self-discipline. It's a beautiful thing when you're self-employed. This is the reason why people love the great country of the United States of America, because you have the option to work for yourself. You have the option to become self-employed. And although there's a lot of great benefits to that, there's a lot of things that come as we call them pros and cons. One of the cons, like I mentioned earlier, is self-discipline. That's one of the most important things that I believe any entrepreneur, any self-employed person needs to master. Obviously, one of the pros for being self-employed is what? No boss. That's great. You don't have to answer to anybody. You don't need somebody calling you, hey, where are you? Are you gonna come to work? Because you have no boss. You are your own boss. One of the cons to that though is no accountability. Whether you like it or not, when you were working the 9-to-5 job, the accountability was your boss. The accountability was, hey, if I'm not there between these times, I'm not getting paid per hour, right? Although that's not the accountability I want you guys to shoot for, that's the accountability you would get if you have a boss. So how do you come up with your own accountability? I'm gonna show you guys that here in a minute. The pro is, oh my God, I have the freedom of time. I'm my own boss, so I create my own schedule. If I wanna come to work late, I can come to work late. If I don't wanna work weekends, holidays, that's all great. But that's where the next con comes in. You don't have a set schedule. Does that make sense? When you don't have a set schedule, you're technically always on the go. You don't know when your next day off is gonna be. You wake up and you don't know if your day is gonna be busy all the way to 9 o'clock at night, whether you're gonna get off at 3 p.m. That's if you're not doing something properly, but you just don't know what your schedule is gonna look like. You don't know whether you're gonna work this weekend. You don't know if you're gonna work the next holiday. You have no idea. Another pro is financial freedom. You got financial freedom. You have the ability as a person that's self-employed to make as much as you want, as much. You wanna make $1 million? You can make $1 million, but this is where the other con comes in. You have the possibility of making nothing. Scary, right? But that is the con of being self-employed. The possibility of making nothing should scare you. Next one is no tax deductions. Oh my God, you get a big fat check, and I explained this on one of my last videos. You get a check for $10,000. You got no tax deductions. Usually when you work, you're W-2'd, you get a bunch of tax deductions on your check, whether, like I say, it's Medicare, maybe it's your federal taxes, your state taxes. You get a bunch of deductions, and that's what your check is. You get net. But there's the con, taxes. I'll explain everything in a minute. I'll show you guys exactly where I'm going with this, so please allow me to explain myself. You guys are probably wondering, who the hell is this guy? Why is he gonna give me advice on self-discipline? Well, guys, I will tell you something again. In my real estate career, the number one thing that I've learned that was the most important thing is self-discipline. Self-discipline has allowed me to achieve a lot of things. Number one, I just turned 25, but technically speaking, I'm the youngest real estate broker / CEO in Kern County, with a real estate company. And I'm very grateful for that, and I can thank self-discipline for that. I was a person that weighed 315 pounds. The self-discipline just to make a simple choice to either eat a salad or a burger has given me the happiness, and I'll explain. Self-discipline equals happiness, right? Because you're self-disciplined enough to say, hey, I'm not gonna eat this, I'd rather eat this. This is the choice that I'm gonna make. That's the self-discipline. Okay, so those are just a few of the accomplishments that I've made, and I'm very proud of those accomplishments. But again, it all happens with self-discipline. No one told me, hey, Anthony, you gotta eat right. No one told me, hey, Anthony, you gotta work your ass off so that you can do this later in life. No one tells you those things, but how do you do it? You gotta tell yourself, okay? And I'm gonna break it down for you. So 16 steps. I'm gonna start with number 1. Define your goal. You gotta be crystal clear with your goal. I'm pertaining this more to the self-employed people. Why is it that you are self-employed? Why did you choose to become self-employed in the first place? Other than the obvious reasons, is it the product you're selling? Is it your product? What motivates you every single day to get up and work towards your goal? You gotta have that definite goal. So what I want you guys to do, and it's an exercise, okay? I want you guys to come up with your own quote unquote business plan, right? What is the ultimate goal? Why are you working every single day, getting out of bed so that you can work towards a goal? This is how you do it. You define your goal. You got to be very crystal clear, man. You got to be able to see it. You got to be able to touch it. You got to be able to feel it. If your goal is to, just an example, become a millionaire before you're 30, you got to define the goal. You got to declare that goal. You got to be crystal clear with, hey, I want to make $1 million by the time I'm 30. However long that's going to take you, whether you're 20, whether you're 25, whether you're 27, you might be 29, you have to be very precise with your goal. This is what goes down to my next step. So number 2, you got to break down that goal. How are you going to make $1 million? You got to break it down. You're crystal clear. You can feel the $1 million. You can touch the $1 million, but how are you going to make that $1 million? You got to break it down. Okay. This is part of a business plan strategy. So you got to break it down, and you got to keep in mind that, to get to the 5th floor, you start with one single step. That's exactly what this is. You're going to break down that plan and start off with steps. The third thing, one of the most important things that I believe is on this list is analyze your weaknesses. Everybody's got weaknesses, man. My weaknesses, if I can only start, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, my weakness is food. I love food, but no one's gonna hold me accountable to what I'm putting in my mouth and what I'm not. So I have to hold myself accountable for that. Analyze all of your weaknesses, and I mean that, like literally make a list of all the things that are your weaknesses, something that's not good for you, something that is a bad habit, so to say. That's the 4th step. So the 3rd and the 4th step are very similar to each other. The next one, number 4, is analyze your bad habits. Guys, I'm gonna tell you guys something. As a self-employed person, and I learned this, okay, this is where self-discipline kicked my ass. Being on time. That was one of the biggest things. Anybody that knew me back then knew that I was always late to everything. It doesn't matter what it was. It was a family party, start at 8 o'clock. I'm there at 8:30 or 8:45. I have a client appointment, and this was something that I learned through my clients, okay? Being on time, man. I mean, it's just one of those things where, if you're on time, you're late. If you're there 10 minutes before, that's considered on time. So it's just one of those things. So what is your bad habit? Like, self-discipline kicks in, and you're able to master that. Okay, it's not gonna be from today to tomorrow. Take some time, but you're gonna be able to master that, right? Number 5, set a to-do list. And what I mean is important tasks that are gonna allow you to reach that big goal. You got that one big goal, that $1 million goal. You wanna make $1 million. You need to set a to-do list every single night before. Okay, and this is something that I do. Again, it's just advice, things that have worked for me. I set a to-do list the night before. I sit down and I think, okay, tomorrow, what can I do tomorrow that's gonna allow me to reach my goal, one step closer to my goal? Okay, so you gotta think about that. Okay, and this is where number 6 comes in. Set a not to-do list. Let me explain. If you set a to-do list, you know what you're going to do. If you set a not to-do list, you know what you can't do, what you're not supposed to do. One of the big important things that I set myself as a not to-do list is stay off of social media. Yeah, you guys might see me on social media, but all I literally do is get my phone, post up a story, and put it away. Unless I'm responding to clients, unless your business relies heavily on social media, you shouldn't even be on social media at all. You should be focusing on what your goal is, right? This is where my next one comes in. Analyze your surroundings. What are your surroundings? Like, truly think about that. Not a lot of people take the time to realize, hey, my surroundings are distracting me. Social media is a distraction. The people around you can be a distraction. Unfortunately, for most cases, not a lot of people realize that until it's too late, but your surroundings have a lot to do with what your work ethic is like. If you're surrounded by a bunch of people that like to smoke pot and drink beer and have a good time and barbecues, and you're probably not gonna get much done. If you gotta isolate yourself, if you gotta basically be with people that are like-minded, you gotta surround yourself with like-minded people, somebody that's gonna help and basically, inspire you to grow with them. You gotta surround yourself with those type of people. Those are the type of people that you wanna be with. Surround yourself, check your environment, see who's around your environment, see what are your distractions, and eliminate that. Sometimes it can be close people, and that's where it hurts, okay? I have eliminated some of my family members, and not in a bad way, not to where, hey, screw you, don't talk to me. I'm talking about in terms of, I used to live with them, and for whatever reason, it was just a big distraction to me. I couldn't work around that. That was not the environment I wanted to be in. So what did I do? I isolated myself. I work 100 times better. I'm able to focus a lot better. I'm able to do the things that I need to do and stay focused because I eliminated, unfortunately, to be very honest with you, it can be anybody. It can be your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, and I'm not saying it's them, but it could be, right? You got to be honest with yourself. Number 8, prioritize your goal. That's where the next one comes in. And that's what actually goes back to number 7. Once you analyze your surroundings and you realize, hey, you know what? My girlfriend, she's not good for me. She's actually distracting me. She's not allowing me to focus. She's not allowing me to grow. That's where number 8 comes in. You got to prioritize your goal. How important is that goal for you? If that $1 million, you're going to get it to invest and help the world and charities or whatever it is that you're planning on doing with that $1 million, if it's really worth that much to you, you prioritize that. And don't let anybody distract you from what that is, okay? So if you have to work on something that pertains to your business, pertains to whatever it is you're doing, you prioritize that goal, okay? Number 9, don't wait on the right moment. I can't stress that enough. That's actually something that I've learned throughout the years, is that I've always been one of these people that before I release an advertisement, you know, at least back then I would be like, oh my God, this number doesn't look good. Oh, we need 3 exclamations, there's only 2, or hey, that picture, I look a little fat in that picture. I don't know, you know, there's a lot of things that I could have named that allowed me to not advertise because I was waiting for the right moment or the right advertisement or you go for it, you do it. Don't overthink something. Don't overthink it to where you're not gonna end up posting crap. Just post it. You know, and this is just, I'm pertaining right now to just social media, but this can pertain to anything, okay? Literally anything, you know? Don't wait for the right moment. There's no such thing as a right moment. Opportunity will just fly right by you without you realizing it because you're waiting for the right moment. Okay, number 10, force yourself. There's a lot of times where I had to force myself. For those of you who've been following me, or if you follow me on social media, you know that, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to wake up at 3:45. I used to try to be at the gym by 4:15, right? I didn't want to wake up at 3:45. When my alarm went off, God, man, I dreaded that alarm. So I forced myself. But here's the beautiful part. I only forced myself for the first 2 weeks. I forced myself. Okay, after 2 weeks, every day gets easier and easier. And then people just think, damn, this guy's just on crack, dude. He's waking up at 3:45 every day. How do you do that? You gotta force yourself. Sometimes you don't wanna eat a freaking salad. You gotta force yourself. Sometimes you wanna go and open the fridge and just get a bowl of cereal, you gotta force yourself. I can't stress that enough. For people that are self-employed, if your business relies on talking to people, you got 100 calls that you need to make and you don't want to make them just because you don't want to, guess who's winning? Not you. You got to force yourself. You got to make yourself, okay, you know what? I got 100 calls to make. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to start with this. This is how I'm going to do it. You make those 100 calls. You got to talk to 100 people. You got to do it. You can do whatever you set your mind to. You just have to force yourself to do it. I've learned that the hard way. Find an accountability partner. Man, that's another big one. Again, it kind of goes back to the surroundings. You know, who's around you, your environment, all that stuff. Once you surround yourself with like-minded people, your vision gets clearer. Your world starts to change. Accountability, guys, man, I'm very accountable with my brother. I'm sure you guys have seen him. There's days where this guy, you know, I'm knocking, because I live with my brother, you know, and I knock on his door and he's snoring it up and I'm like, hey bro, it's 3:45, we gotta go to the gym. That's me being accountable. But there's days, guys, where I don't want to go to the gym. There's days where I don't want to wake up and make calls. There's days where I don't want to talk to anybody. There's days where I don't want to do crap. And guess what? He's my accountability partner. My accountability partner holds me accountable. Another way you guys can do this is a good tactic, and I've done this before too. You have your accountability partner. For instance, hey, you know, you have your goal, and the goal for this year, for instance, mine was I want to help 50 families. I'm gonna write a check right now for $10,000, because if I don't help 50 families, that $10,000 is gonna go to you as my accountability partner, because I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. Does that make sense? Nobody wants to pay the other person $10,000. That's gonna get you up off your ass every single day to make sure you're reaching that 50 family goal. If you reach 49 and you have to pay them $10,000, at that point, $10,000 is not gonna be much to you. But again, that's just a good tactic. You don't have to do it. I've done it before, it worked. Find a mentor. That's another thing. A lot of people, and this is a common misconception for entrepreneurs, when they say find a mentor, it doesn't always have to be literally find somebody that you're gonna be on their ass every single day and follow them around. If you have that, that's great. That's a luxury. Enjoy that, because there's not a lot of mentors that are willing to mentor. It doesn't always have to be someone here, if that makes sense. It can be, a mentor can be somebody that you learn from, whether it's online, maybe somebody that you like to, you know, somebody that has books that they publish, somebody that you like for instance, my mentor, I can just say it right now, Dale Carnegie. I love Dale Carnegie's books. You know what I mean? I love to read those books. And that has opened my mind a lot in terms of leadership, in terms of Robert Greene is another one. There's just a bunch of different people that I've learned from, because to me, those people are my mentors. I get mentored every single day when I open up and I read a chapter in that book. That's that person mentoring me. If you have somebody that can mentor you now in person, that's great. I congratulate you, because there's not a lot of that out there. But again, if you don't have the luxury for that, which I didn't, I relied on a lot of YouTube videos and books. Number 13, you gotta reward yourself. Sounds funny, right? If you program your mind to do something, for instance, I set out to make 100 calls today. If I make 100 calls today, I'm gonna reward myself. Doesn't have to be something big. You don't have to go and buy yourself a freaking car for making 100 calls. It's just a small reward, because that's gonna program your mind to basically, hey, you know what? I did what I was supposed to do. And there's a reward when you work hard. Simple as that. Number 14, keep track of your progress. You got to keep track of where you're going. If your goal is to make $1 million, keep track of that. This year I made 200 grand. Last year I made 100 grand. You know, next year I'm projecting to make 300 grand. You know, whatever it is, keep track of what your progress is. Again, I'm using the $1 million as an example because it's probably the easiest example for everybody, right? Number 15, you got to set those monthly goals. As an entrepreneur, as a self-employed person, again, you got no boss, you got no accountability. You got to set that up for yourself. So you do that by setting monthly goals. You got to be working towards something, and this is towards the big goal. Yeah, your big goal might be, for instance, I want to make $1 million in 5 years, but you got to start off monthly. Every single month matters. This month I'm making 15,000. Next month I'm making this much. You got to set your monthly goals. Just an example for me, my monthly goal for this month is to make at least $15,000. Okay, that's my just an example. And the last one, guys, is don't quit. I know it sounds very difficult. You guys know about the 21-90 rule, right? 21 days creates a new habit. 90 days will create a new lifestyle. So I want to challenge you guys, okay? Because I've done this challenge personally. Okay, I've done it for the fitness side of things. I've done it for my personal side of things, for my business side of things. Okay, I don't want you guys to start a challenge where you go to the gym, you go for 2 weeks and then you quit. I don't want you guys to start a challenge where I'm gonna start reading some books. You do it for 2 weeks, 1 month, or you quit. Challenge yourself legitimately for 90 days, okay? And you're gonna create a new lifestyle. You rewire your brain subconsciously after 90 days of doing it consistently. You're gonna do it subconsciously. You know, for my dilemma, when I was waking up at 3:45 in the morning, I hated it. It was the first couple days were the hardest of my life. I was like, man, is this even worth it? Why don't I just go on that? And it's funny because when I wake up, I start making all these excuses, man. Oh my God, it's like the Anthony fighting with the other Anthony, you know, the good and the bad. It's like the bad is like, bro, just go later on to the gym. You'll be fine. Go after, you know, you're tired. You didn't get enough sleep last night. That's me fighting with myself. You know what I do? Ignore the shit out of myself and I force myself to get up. And then when I'm done with my workout, oh my God, I'm so thankful. I'm like, damn, I'm thankful that I did that. And if you can't do that on your own, get an accountability partner. You need one. If you get an accountability partner on the days you don't feel like you want to do something, that accountability partner is going to kick you in the ass and say, hey, let's go. The reason why I put taxes and deductions and all that stuff, I don't want to get into all that. My purpose was this. I hope this will kind of open your guys' eyes that, you know, hey, you do have the possibility of making nothing. If you don't work, if you don't hustle 24/7, you're not going to make money. Yeah, you have the possibility of creating your own schedule. Yeah, you know, you have the possibility of financial freedom, but all of that comes with a price to pay, and it's called self-discipline. You master self-discipline, you're gonna master the pros on being self-employed. A lot of people think, oh my God, I'm gonna go into business for myself. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna do great. I'm gonna be rich. I'm an entrepreneur. Hell no. You better know what you're getting yourself into, because I promise you guys, man, I don't want to make this video long, but I've had very, 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 very horrible moments. I have quit. I wouldn't say quit, because I'm here. I'm still doing what I'm supposed to do. I remember calling, my wife at the time and telling her, hey, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do real estate anymore. Nothing is going for me. My first year, I closed 4 deals. I closed 4 transactions my first year in real estate. And for those of you watching that are real estate agents, you guys should know that the average commission in Bakersfield is not a whole lot of money, especially when you're a new agent. I mean, I'm talking about my first deal was a $115,000 deal. I still remember the street. I made $2,000 off that commission. I remember the client didn't like some cabinets in her room and she asked me if I can help her. I'm like, yeah, for sure. Off of my commission, I'm gonna help you. I made $2,000. Handyman went, seen that I was a new agent, took advantage of me, charged me $800 for removing cabinets and painting. And I paid. So what did I walk away with? $1,200, guys. That kicked my ass. That year in real estate, I got my ass kicked. I almost quit many times, but I refrained myself from doing it. I decided, I'm being honest. I've had moments where I sat in my car and I cried and I'm like, is this worth it for me? Is this worth it? Am I cut out to be a real estate agent? Is this something that I want to do for the rest of my life? Is this worth it for me? I've cried in my car multiple times because I'm like, oh my God, I'm lying. It wasn't even my car, it was my mom's car, because unfortunately I didn't have a car back then. Yeah, self-employed sounds like it's such a great thing. Entrepreneurship sounds like it's such a great thing. These are the behind the scenes. You guys see that I opened up an office. You guys see that I have a company, that I have my agents, that yeah, I'm not saying all that shit to brag. I worked my ass off to get to where I've been. And I started from behind the scenes. These are things that you guys haven't seen because social media only allows you to put whatever you want to put, and people are only going to put what they want people to see. And that's the same thing in my case. Now I'm telling you guys exactly where I come from, and I want people to see the process. I want people to see that it's not easy. I had shoes that would open up from the back, so when I was walking in front of my clients, I would have to let them go first because I didn't want them to see my shoes opening up, freaking talking to them. I was pushing almost 320 pounds. Okay, so I had a lot to fix. It all started with this: the self-discipline, the challenges, the rewiring my brain subconsciously. It's not easy. Another quick story I want to share with you guys, just real quick before I end the video. I remember I didn't have a car. I had every reason to quit. I would have been perfectly right to quit. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be making any money. I'm gonna quit on my goals. I'm gonna quit on my dreams. And God knows that I worked my ass off. A quick story that I wanna tell you guys. When I was applying to take my state exam to become a real estate agent, I didn't have a car, right? I had to borrow cars. And just for those of you who don't know, I took my real estate exam 7 times. 7 times. The last 2 times, and I'll post that up too. Everything that I'm saying is legit. The last 2 times before I passed, I got a 69%. For those of you that know, in order to get your real estate license, you need to have a 70% or better. The world was already against me and I got a 69% 2 times in a row. I thought somebody was messing with me. I'm like, oh my God, dude, somebody's messing with me. Somebody doesn't want me to get this freaking license. I went back the 3rd time, or the 7th time I should say, and I passed it, right? But on my way, on one of those tries, I actually didn't even make it that day. That day, they still charged me for the test, and I was considered a no-show. My aunt, Claudia, and I actually sold her a house. She sold me a car, very, very cheap. It was a really, really nice car. I was so happy and I was so thankful for her. And she had sold me the car. She goes, here, mijo, here's a blue Honda Accord. It was actually my cousin's. It was passed down to her and she passed it down to me. So she's like, here, mijo, you don't have to pay me right now. I know you're struggling. And I had just got a job detailing cars. I was washing cars and she's like, here you go, go ahead and use a car to go take your test or do whatever you need to do with it. I was excited. I had the car for 2 weeks, guys. It was a 2007 Honda Accord. I'll post some pictures up. I have my newborn baby. She was, I'm not kidding guys, maybe 3 days old. I really wanted to take the test. And I remember my wife at the time wanted to go with me. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna take the baby, we're good. I had my brother in the front. The only issue with that car was that a window was broken, but it didn't matter. I was happy that I had a car. I tell my mom, go ahead and drive. I'm tired, because we have to drive to Fresno to take the state exam. For those of you in Bakersfield know, we have to go to Fresno, Los Angeles. Well, I had selected Fresno, 2 hours away, and my test started at 8 a.m. So I had to leave Bakersfield at 5 in the morning. When I left, I told my mom, here, Mom, I'm tired. You go ahead and drive. I want to rest for the test, She's like, yeah, sure. Well, tire ended up popping midway. We were there in Fresno, borderline in Fresno, and tire pops and car spins around on the freeway. Crash, hit the wall multiple times. Keep in mind, I had my newborn baby in the car. And because I lost that car, You know, I couldn't take the test. It's just a lot of things happened, guys, that could have prevented me from getting my real estate license. That was one of the days where I cried and I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this? I lost a car to go take a test. Like, damn, you know, it really hit me because I could have lost my newborn baby for this. So I decided to keep going. I'm like, I'm already in this deep. And then, like I said, 69, and then finally passed. It's not easy. And I thought that was gonna be the hardest part, but man, was I wrong. It all starts with this, guys. Self-discipline will equal to happiness. Why? Because if you self-discipline yourself and you control your mind, you're gonna be able to do a lot of things that other people can't. It's a 90-day challenge. Legitimately do it, have a start date and a finish date, and I want you guys to pull through it. If you guys can do that, you can do anything you set your mind to. All right, and I apologize in advance. This was a super long video. I don't normally make them this long, but I wanted to get a little bit more interactive with you guys and share a little bit about my story. I have a ton of stories that I'd like to share with you guys, just because I know a lot of people just see the cocky side of Anthony, right? That's what my sales manager tells me. So I want to get more interactive with you guys, share a little bit about my story. But yeah, guys, here it is. Self-discipline. Stay tuned for the next video, and until next time.